Hi, I'm Caitriona Ennis and I'm an actor.
Hi, Katrina. How are you? Thanks a million for taking part in this.
Not at all. Thanks for joining me in my bedroom.
Yes, I'm loving all the. I'm just loving. I'm going to be looking at the books now, so as we proceed through the.
Oh, yeah, zoom in on them.
Come here. I mean, your CV is kind of so wide ranging, and you've done some amazing kind of work in such a relatively short space of time. I'm just interested to know. Yeah, I suppose the question I ask everyone is, where did it all start from? Like, was it something that you knew from early on that you wanted to do?
Um, I think so, deep down. And it's like, because I've thought about this question quite a bit myself, and you get asked it quite. And I guess it came from home, despite the fact that like none of my family are performers or have any involvement in the arts. But like when I think back, like home was just such a like colorful place, like from down to my neighbors, like the different voices, the different characters, but particularly my own home was like I have two older brothers, they're 10 years older than me, and I was just surrounded by chaos. Like they just loved entertaining me. It was like different voices, different outfits, day in, day out. My mom and dad were big into like, I suppose, just keeping us like, the way to like keep the whole house going was like, yeah, go out the back, yeah, go on, take that, yeah, take my heels, yeah, do lipstick, grand, go, do whatever. And like our house kind of became, we had this shed, and we all, like all the neighbors and my brothers and their friends we all used to pile into the shed and make radio programs, and then it became the shed the movie. So I think that was like the basis for a lot. And even my nana used to have the rag bag, and we'd go up to nana's and we'd pass around this rag bag, and everybody would pick out an outfit, and that would be your character for the day. So I think like they're the roots of, I was constantly playing at home. And then in school, like I loved being part of the little drama plays at Christmas, but I didn't like performing. I didn't have the confidence to get
Okay.
up on stage. I had one bad episode where I was due to play Pinocchio, and just before I went on, I said to my teacher, like, I'm really nervous. I don't think I can do this. And I was about, I'd say, 6 or 7. She got really cross with me. And I remember she had a hairbrush in her hand, and she slammed the hairbrush on the table. And I was just like, no, this is too much pressure. I like to have fun with it, but I really, this is too much. So then I think my parents kind of recognized me shy away from it and kind of go into myself. And like, I suppose lots of us, I was quiet. I was like out there, but also quiet.
Mm.
So then my dad and my mom one day said to me, we'll go down to the Swan Centre in Rathmines, which was like, that was huge. Like, oh, we're going down to Rathmines, like it was whopper. So we're on the way down, and they pulled out up outside of school and said to me, oh, we'll just come in here for a minute. And I was like, why? What's in there? And I just remember walking down with my dad, pulling me down this ramp, and this woman running out and saying, is that Caitriona? And he said, yeah. And she went, just go, 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 go. Grabs my hand. I was like, what is going on? What? And it was a drama class. And that was the first time I'd ever gone to a drama class. And that was it. That was the moment. That was the defining moment. It was kind of like finding your tribe. It was friendship. It was fun. It was confidence. And then it slowly grew. It was like the seed was planted, and it was just minded. And then I was able to come to it myself and decide, well, I'd actually like to do that.
And did you? I mean, was that kind of instantaneous when you went in, or was there a period of going, "What the hell is this?"
Oh, like I can't describe to you what it was like. The moment I heard, is that Caitriona? And just go, it was hell. Like it was pure fear, everything. Got into the room, they were practicing for their Christmas little play, so it was full blown already. And it was Hilary Cahill, my drama teacher, said to me, just sit and watch, you don't have to join in, and I was like, no, 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 just sit and watch. So I watched for a bit, and then this guy came down to me, Michael, who actually turned out to live around the corner then from me, and just started chatting to me. And that was the start. That was just like a friend, first of all. And then I was like, oh yeah, well, we'll see you next Saturday. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll see you next Saturday. So it was friendship.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it was like somebody in the class saying to me, "You're really good at that. You're really funny at that." Oh yeah, maybe I'm okay at that. Or oh, messing, like it was improvs as well for me. I just loved getting into those groups every Saturdays and making up shows with your pals in the class or somebody else coming in and going, "Oh, I know that feeling. You're, oh my God, you're brilliant." And the community of it, and the escapism, like the freedom of it, if I was ever having a hard week or anything, Saturday was the day where I'd go, okay, now I'm free. Now I can let it go.
Cool. And
So
where did you grow up then? Where was kind of home?
from
From
Crumlin, yeah.
that's interesting. It's got kind of got we got something in connection there. I was in college with Hillary, in Dramstock in UCD.
Yeah.
Kind of small world. And I see obviously that Dramstock played a big part in your life and the development as well. And I'm wondering, Caitriona, how as you're growing up and kind of finding your tribe in drama school and then in regular school, like was that something that was it available to you in your teenage years, or was it totally separate?
Yeah, no, it was. I have to say, my school was. I went to St. Paul's in Walkinstown, and they were big into like extra curriculum. So it was encouraged that if that's what you were, what you were into, as long as there was kind of a deal struck with me, particularly in some of my classes. Like I remember my German teacher, like very much was like, okay, if you just do this work, yeah, you can go out. Yes, you can go up and practice in the hall, whatever dance you're making up with your mates, whatever. So there was this, like we had the Rose of St. Paul's, which was like a piss take of the Rose of Tralee, and that that was something that we'd spend months sort of, each classroom would pick a rose and the whole class would get involved, or the choir, and then the school play like was brilliant, and we had nuns in our school and they'd get up at the end and do their routine at the end of the school play. So there was a constant and really really aided us. I look back and I think it was really forward thinking of them, that putting up our side of it was like, look, okay, you have to go into these classes and you have to do this, but right, fair enough, next week I'll let you off the class to go and practice this, because that's equally as important. So it never became a battle of one or the other. And then a respect, I think, was grown out of it mutually, which I think, I think about a lot lately in what we do, is if you feel that, I felt that my teachers looked at what I felt I was good at and respected it and acknowledged it, and therefore I was able to go into their classes and respect them and acknowledge, okay, this is what I got to do now. So it was actually yeah, it was love. I love school. Like I spent the whole time making deals with teachers to get out of classes and swindle this and that and get so and so she has to be in the dance, like she's deadly. So it was, yeah, I struck a lovely relationship with school in the end.
Yeah, I think that's that word, and you'll get onto it kind of later on a bit more in relation to
Yeah,
the community. But that word respect, I think, is it's not used enough in relation to, and not just within the arts, but kind of just in the way to deal with each other, kind of
yeah,
in the world. And then, okay, go back there. So you're in school, you're loving it, you found your tribe, and then getting the next step into kind of deciding to go to college, or what was next for you. What was in your head? Like, was it kind of going, okay, I'm not, what was in your head?
yeah. I hadn't really, because I was just like, because it was kind of always just like what I did in life and plodding along and low and fun. I got to sixth year, and I remember me and one of my best pals were hanging back after school, and we were messing in the classroom again, like as we do, like,
Yeah.
or as we did, like just absolutely taking the mick left, right, and centre. This voice, this character. That's what we did. That's how we played. And our guidance teacher coming in, and she was standing at the door laughing at us, and then she turned around and said, "What are you going to do though? This is coming to an end." And it was, I'll never forget looking at Jenny going, "Oh, here, oh yeah, actually, I have no idea. Do you know what you're doing?" No, I haven't got a clue. And that sudden bang of, oh, and then suddenly going, well, how do you do this? I have no clue. where do you turn to? Can you do it? Was this just, now you have to enter the real world? Now you have to go and do something proper. Do you know, that kind of, all those fears started to really like hit me quite hard. And so I started to research stuff, and it was the Beckett Centre course that I had looked at, but it was gone. It had just gone that year.
Okay.
So I suppose then I was lucky because I was in Saturday drama classes with Hilary, and I knew that her and her friends had been in Dramsoc, and I had heard through the years like about different plays. Oh, in Dramsoc we did this or whatever, you know, or that she had gone there. So I wrangled my friends to go out to an open day with me, and immediately was like, oh my god, this place is huge. Oh, right, okay, grand. And parked it and just put it down. That was just my, okay, I have to put something down on the CAO form, right? Just do it, park it, forget about it. And then it coming closer to D-Day, and I had auditioned for the Gaiety as well. And as soon as, like, I just kind of put it to one side and just was like, okay, just carry on. You have to try and do this. You have to get through the leaving cert. And then D-Day came, and all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, I'm going to UCD. And I had gotten my best friend to put her number one down the exact same. I was like, right, you do that as well. And the both of us on the day of our results were like, all right, we managed to wingle it. And I remember saying to her, I think that means then we're going to UCD. And she was like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. And I was like, what? You put that down with me? She was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And then hearing her say she didn't want to do it, I was like, okay, well, right, I kind of do. And I knew I loved English. So that was it. Then I put myself in UCD, studied English and Greek and Roman studies for a while, philosophy, and drama. And for the first year, I did find UCD quite hard. I found it really big and intimidating, and like it's just so different, isn't it? There was like the numbers were huge in a class. I suddenly went from being able to like talk to teachers or have the crack or know all the girls in my school and stuff, to just completely like nameless. And I kind of sunk back into myself again. I think I was intimidated by it, so I went quite in. And then in second year I opted to do a drama class, a performance drama class, and this lovely guy called Paul Fox, some know him as Sean Paul Fox, came up to me in the class and he was like, here, you're like real good, why aren't you in Dramsoc? And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, come here. And he walked me down to Dramsoc, and that was it then. So that was another, like, somebody else just being kind enough to let me in a little bit, you know, and go, come on, it's okay.
Yeah, it's incredible, actually, that moment of being both your parents brilliantly bringing you down to the drama school and then being, whipped away, and then, that moment of going into Dramsoc. And I'm always fascinated in those sliding doors moments in a way, or, or kind of, are they universally deigned from the beginning that they're going to happen? I mean, I think, I still remember on my first day, I did English and philosophy, I think, in first year. But I remember my first day in English in UCD, sitting in the lecture hall, and the lecturer walked in, it was packed, and went, okay, there's only spaces for half of you next year, so no matter how well you do, it doesn't really matter. Like, oh, shit. Okay, fair enough, yeah.
All right.
So talk to me about the madness wonderful of Dramsoc.
Yeah, so it kicked off in second year in Dramsoc, and it kind of like, oh, it was everything I love. It's so chaotic, but so brilliant. Like, there's so much passion in the place. Be it like, because, we were putting on 2 shows a week, matinee shows, and then an evening show. And between, like, there was no room for, I do this and you do that, which was my favorite thing about it, I think, looking back. It was one for all and all for one. And it was just like, I loved the chaos, and it kind of struck those reels again for me, where I was like, right, if I managed to get this essay in, I started having those relationships with professors and stuff as well. Like, if I perform this monologue in a play that you come and see, do you mind if my essay's late? Like, so it was all these, but it was between, like, it was learning like how to paint sets, or how, I'm around, I'll do the lights if you show me what button to press. And it opened my mind to loads of different plays, because we were all on the hunt to like, what show should we put on. You were able to test like your different, I think it was like opening a Pandora box and going, here are all my tools.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we do that things to ourselves so much, of going, this is what I can do, and that's stop. And there's something about drum stock that allowed you to go, okay, that's what you can do, and you've yet to find out all the other wonderful things you can do.
Yeah.
And then the social element of like parties every Friday, the safety of being able to investigate work and try things and fail.
Yeah.
But, you know, it didn't mean that you're out. It didn't mean that you didn't get another chance. It didn't mean anything other than you'd learned something.
Yeah.
I loved the community of it. It was just so much fun, like, and it was so brilliant watching peers where you could just suddenly see them hit on different things and just go, wow, there's like, you have something, to see those moments. And then, like, you know, I ran Dramsoc for a year, and like, to have that was where because it had given me a life I don't think I would have had in UCD without it. I wanted to make it for everyone, not, you know, and to really bring audiences actually into it, that you're a part, like, come out on the Friday night. That was a big thing for me, of like, you know, opening up the society to everyone, because I think it's such a gift. And then stretching out to like the Irish industry, that was the first time I really started to ask people, like, you know, Rosaleen Linehan came into us, and Fiona Shaw came into us, and Louise Lowe came into us, and Annie Ryan came into us. And it was having those different conversations and starting to reach out, or professors coming down, you know, handing, I remember Anthony Roach handed me a Tom Murphy play one day, and that was like, that was just, everything changed, you know, that was my world exploding again. Or I directed Dancing at Leonisa, which was one of my I think till the day I died, like, I have some of the most fondest memories of that, both as a human being and as an artist. That, you know, I learned so much of it and made friends. And so yeah, Dramsoc was huge. Glorious chaos, like the asylum in the basement, like mad geniuses at work. It's brilliant, and the gift to be able to play.
Yeah. No, I think it's maybe everything that has come out of your mouth there in the last few minutes, you could have said for me. I think yeah, such a formative time, and I think that permission to fail, and that it doesn't matter. You know, sorry, obviously it matters, but it doesn't matter in relation to your kind of now evicted or kind of gone.
Yeah.
Caitriona, during that time, like, was it in your head about this is what I want to do as a career? I mean, was it kind of?
Yeah, it was. It was kind of like, I don't know if I ever sat down and said the sentence, I want to do this as a career.
Mm.
It was more like, I just, like, it's like air for me. Like, it's a need. There was nothing else I could have done, in a way. And that doesn't mean that I can't do other things. It's just, for me, it's how I cope with the world. It's how I deal with the world. It's my way of trying to give back to the world. So I just kind of knew. I knew deep inside me, it was something that somehow I would always do. But I was doing that ISDA down in Galway, and Dervla Crahy was one of the judges, and we were doing a whistle in the dark. And afterwards, she was standing outside, and I came out, and she said to me, "You're fair good, girl." And I looked up at her, and she said, "It's okay. You just have to do it." And that was definitely, that was my final year, and that would, I'll never forget it to her, because it was just, I don't know, sometimes you're just looking for somebody else just to say, it's okay, do it, like, jump. And then I had the confidence, because I had watched her for years and she meant so much to me. I had the confidence to tell the rest of the world actually this is what I want to do. And maybe the bit of fight that you need to do, sometimes need
Yeah.
to wrestle with the world when you decide, okay, I'm actually going to say that out loud.
Yeah.
But it was always in me. It was always like a little, butterfly just waiting for somebody to go, open your wings now.
But it's gas because I think there is that, and it's a brilliant story you've just told about kind of, that young girl and kind of to where you're in Dramstock and kind of, getting that confidence. But you also kind of mentioned there, and it's kind of, that's sometimes very hard to put together in an actor or an artist as a person. That real drive of that real, this is air to, it's a beautiful phrase, this is air to me. But then having the kind of the neck, whatever it is, that kind of, boots on doing it. And how was that for you when you left Drams? Like, how was that for you as you kind of got into the industry or whatever you want to call it?
Well, that was such a moment when, when Dervla said that to me. And that's why I'm always so like, because if I could look back, I would try to have said to myself earlier, you can want this, you can say out loud. But it was kind of like I was afraid of what the world was going to suddenly fill me with of, oh, there's no money in that. Oh, there's no work in that. Oh, there's no. And I kind of think I was protecting myself from it to grow my own little craft. But what I always say to anybody I can talk to now who's younger is to try give them the confidence that it's okay to want it. And I think the Irish industry particularly, I have to say, I met Louise Lowe at I ran an ISTA festival up in Dublin, and I met her through that. And I suppose my career started with Boys of Foley Street, and that was the opportunity for me. During that time, I was able to go up to her and say, I had just seen Laundry, and I was able to go up to her and say, I'd really admire your work, and ask her questions and, pick that amazing brain. And I was writing my master's at the time, and, I was starting to struggle of like, how do I get into the industry and what is it that I'm looking for? And, what's the 2 + 2 = 4? And then to have that opportunity to speak to somebody within the industry who was so giving of her time and energy helps me realize there is no answer. And then that was the start of a relationship where I was, because that's what I mean. That's what I think about the Irish industry. People are so good. You can send an email, and I say 99 to 100% of people will go, yes, absolutely. Where can I meet you? Where can I chat to you? We're all like, it's like the core of how we all started, like you're asking, or the love for where we all came from comes back to you when you open those emails or see that face going, I'm looking to do this, how do I start? And I think that really helps me when I did break into the Irish industry, was the amount of people that were there every step of the way to go, yeah, how can I help? Try this or do this, and I still find that every cast I walk into, like, that's the constant inspiration. Like, to stand on the stage with Neil Flanagan is just, you go, oh my god, like, borrow a little bit, take that little bit. Or for her again, like, so willingly come up and say, okay, what's your next step? Let me talk to you about where I went. This is what I did. Or, Decky Conlon was the same, Andrew Bennett last year. You're constantly with people who are so giving that I think that made the toughness of the job slightly easier for me.
Yeah.
I think it is hard, and you do have to, put on your tough boots and dig deep sometimes, and it can be painful, and it can be lonely if you don't realize that your whole community is there. And once I think you start tapping into it, and often that's like, I've just said, that's occasions of somebody else walking up to you and saying, come with me or whatever. But yeah, I think that's a constant help to me still to this day.
And Caitriona, like as I said at the beginning of this, your kind of CV is so wide ranging and working with so many amazing people and companies and wonderful performances. I'm interested and in a diverse range of kind of scale as well. Is it something that anchors you in all of those, whether it be from the Abbey or theatre upstairs or what the gate, is there a process that you have that anchors you within all those, or is it different depending on what you're doing?
Um, for me, the constant anchor is the script or the words or the character. Like that's the constant thing. I go back to the heart of the story that I'm telling, the heart of the person. Every process is different. If and that's why I love theatre. There's just so many different options. You can go from doing a commedia show to going into site specific work, but the constant anchor for me would be the text. I think the more you work with that text, the more you get, and the story constantly in the heart. I always say to people, like, or particularly my home friends, like, I'm about to fall in love again with somebody, and that's it. Like, it's a love story. It's like an all like consuming love story between the person that you're gifted and the story, because that's the powerful thing about the arts. I think that is somebody's story. You go out to that audience and I know somebody, even if it's just one person, will hear that line or see that circumstance or feel that pain, and it will release something in them, or have that laugh at themselves. So that's the anchor for me, is constantly, what is the story I'm trying to tell, and who, and send it out, to the people, because it's for them, isn't it? It's for the world, essentially. Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
that would be my
it's kind of, from, also I'm kind of interested because you've worked across different genres. I mean, but not necessarily kind of film and TV and theatre, but like within the theatre context, from Work with a New to, a one woman show in the theatre upstairs to like Ulysses. Do you know what I mean? So I think that when you're saying about putting it out there, I mean, something like Test Dummy is very, very different to, Ulysses or whatever, you know what I mean? And but from an acting point of view,
yeah,
you know,
extremely different.
and just talk a bit about that for people who may not know about, what that
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah, well, Testimony was written by Caitriona Ennis, so we'd met in Dramsock. So we were, yeah, and lovely Carl Shields and Laura approached us, and and that journey with Testimony, I think that performance, that's what she required. That's what that story required, that telling, or that we decided to have the audience quite close to us, because for anybody who didn't see it, it was a painful, brutal, um coming of age, probably taking back control of a story. But something versus that versus Ulysses, where it's a raucous chaos of this one man's journey. For me, that was like the differences in performance style that it required is very clear because of the text. Like, all the clues for me are on that text and what that requires. And if you come to something like Test Me, and okay, this needs to have a serious energy, this requires me to be able to see the audience quite closely, or movement, the idea of the body was very clear in Test Me, and that's where like my own dance experience would have come into play. And then you look at something like Ulysses, and yeah, it's almost like, and I think it's making me think of Dramsock as well, that all those constant different styles, you could go from being in the matinee show and being in the evening show, and you're doing a check off during the day, and you're doing a new written piece during the evening about drinking cans on the canal.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and all of the work calls to each other. It's all, what does it boil down to? Human emotion. I could be in white face, and versus another time where I'm sitting right in front of you, but ultimately they're all dealing with the same, like, human feelings, human emotions, love, fear, anger. So the core of things are always the same. And then your directors, like, that's such a gift. I've been so gifted to work with like directors, they're like, I love that. I love going into a room and meeting a director for the first time and starting to work with them and go, oh my God, this is the paintbrush you're going to use with me. I didn't had no idea. You know, it's like, again, it's that moment of going, oh my God, I didn't even know I could do any of this. But like, or like you reach the end of a show and you're like, wow, you just guided me to that place this whole time. You've seen a different light in me and went, okay, I'm going to paint with that color now. Or so I think the conversation between, you know, the actor and the director is so important, and your different cast and the writer if they're available to you. And but yeah, it's a really exciting thing to walk into different rooms and go, what style is this going to be? What are they into? Like, how do they make their picture?
But it all comes back to that word you mentioned earlier on of respect and kind of
Yeah,
trust that kind of goes with it, those trust and respect things. And I'm interested as well that trust and respect with an audience, and particularly, like, say, with work like a new, where you're kind
yeah,
of, you know, and that's a really, really interesting performative space for an actress or an actor, but also for the audience, because, you know, as a person who works in the industry, those
yeah.
those shows terrify me because I know the nuts and bolts of them, and it actually makes them more scary rather than.
Me too.
Just, you know, and I suppose it's a broader question in relation to what you said earlier on, Caitriona, about it's about stories and giving it to people and audiences, and kind of how do you, what is that like, you know, I mean, obviously with a new you can kind of recognize it, it's sitting there in front of you, but what is that
Yeah,
feeling that you kind of, what is that air to you? What, you know, he said it's like air to you. What does that feel like?
yeah. It's like I do always say, you can work and work and work in the rehearsal room till the cows come home, but there will always be that missing piece until the moment. That's why it's so scary and so brilliant the first time you walk out. And actually, only recently I've started to really see that's the same every night, because every night you go, what you're essentially doing is walking out, looking out, going, are you ready? Am I ready? Are we going to do this? Fuck it, let's do it.
Mm.
And you go together. And the crux of your work will always be there. But every night that air is different. Every night there's different. It's like, for me, it's like my own little self, whatever that is, whatever your soul or comes radiating out. And I think everybody's comes just lifting up outside themselves and dances all together. And then you let it all happen and you come off and you go, that was the show tonight.
Wow,
That was the dance, you
that's
know?
a brilliant
And
way.
you feel it. Like you really do. You really, and that's what keeps it so alive. That's the uniqueness. That's the ritual for me. That's the like godliness or whatever you want to call it, of like, that's human connection. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, you know, I love that as well, that you're nameless to me. I sometimes you can't even see out, but I can feel you. You can feel me. It's, we're all making this together, whatever that like laugh might be, or that sniffle, or the silence guides this little heart that I'm carrying. Oh, you set her free somewhere else, or yeah, I'm angry today, or yeah, that's really like, that for me is the most glorious thing about what I do. And still to this day takes me so by surprise. Like, that's the conversations constantly that happen after you come off stage. If you start to listen to them as you're going up the stairs and you're going, yeah, see you later, and then you hear, here, did you hear that one? Oh my God, that bit between us today, that it's constant between the actors, because that was, it's as unexpected for us really what's going to happen as it is for the audience. Yes, you have your little benchmarks, you get to that point, you say your lines, but it's so much more than that. And I think I could be one-on-one and in a new show, or you could be in the biggest stadium in the world. And I think once you remember that this is about you actually, and the audience, it's magic. You let yourself open. It's scary. That's what makes it scary. I'm going, okay, throw caution to the wind now, and let's see what happens.
Wow, sorry, I just found that last few minutes very moving, Caitriona, actually. because I think you've named something. I mean, obviously, in case someone's watching this a couple of years later, this was
Yeah.
recorded when we were obviously in lockdown and in our own houses.
Mm.
That sense of human connection, and I think it's fascinating that we're all striving for it in different ways now that we can't connect.
Yeah.
People that we're quarantining with or isolating with. And I think just to hear what you just described there as that kind of aliveness in a room is just, yeah, it's making me miss it.
Yeah, I miss it so much. I miss it so much. And then you know what? But you're reminded of the gift of it and the privilege.
Yeah. And could we, I mean, I won't keep you much longer.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you said there about just that human connection and
Yeah.
and I suppose what fascinates me and what comes up with a lot of the people that I've kind of spoken to around, how we could be doing that connection a bit better with each other, and connecting with the public better, but actually more connecting with each other. I mean, you were saying before we started recording about having something that, that one could connect into with each other, that's not just after opening night or with your kind of close friends, and
Yeah.
just talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's the what. Like, if and obviously it's not even rational because I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But I always think if I won the lotto, like I'd buy a building where we could all just go into, because sometimes I hear my friends, and the difference between what they might do is actually like their lunchtime breaks. That yes, there's struggles in every job, but what they could do is go to their pal and work here. Do you want to go for lunch? And yeah, you can do that within our community, but to be able to go into a space and see each other all the time and have those little conversations, I think that's the only thing. And it goes back to, like, I think sometimes you can feel like you're alone in this industry, but you're not. And it's just constantly trying to remind ourselves that actually, and you can feel it in this lockdown, our community is so massive. The biggest, the bravest, the boldest hearts, the people that are most, I think, in connection maybe with their, their emotions and willing to jump in. So, like, it's a tricky one because ultimately it's never going to be the job that we can all be in the same space. But I do think, is there opportunities there for us to meet once a month, or to have the options of breakfast mornings? And I know they are things that happen, or maybe it's just, maybe there's things to be learned of, to just really keep reminding each other that our support is there, and that there's so many of us that at the drop of the hat you can get in touch with. And definitely I've been thinking of that lately, of sitting at home, even remembering what it was like to dream in this bedroom and go, oh, I'd love to do that one day. I was thinking maybe it's about me putting out my energy to anybody who's starting off and going, I've all this free time in my hand, I'll talk to you as much as I can, I'll give you any advice. I think the larger picture of connecting out to the world, I think it's so important that people understand what it is that we do. I don't think it's any fault if the general public don't quite understand completely. I don't probably understand what other people do in there, but the opportunity to speak to somebody, I get that with my friends who are teachers and stuff. I can talk about them and say, okay, I didn't realize that was tough in your job. This is my job and this is what's tough in it, or this is what it means to me. And I think even, the opportunity of conversations that's happening at the moment is actually a gift for the wider general to hear what the work means to us, what it is our jobs are, the difficulties of it, the joys of it, and how actually it's about them and it's for them and they are with us. That for me is so important because the minute the minute general audiences or general public don't understand what I do, well then what's the point? Because I actually want to do it with you. Like what I was talking about, I want to have those dances with you. Without you, there's nothing. That's the truth of it.
That you should write all that down. I follow you. No, but I think you're right. I think there's a huge opportunity where we are all at now to kind of have those conversations. And you know, because you're right, I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's about reminding ourselves that we're, or you know, particularly freelance artists, reminding themselves that they are people as well as what they do, and they have needs as well as what they do, and they have needs that are the same as teachers or, you know, whatever. But also that they work in a sector which is aligned with, you know, very, very much casual hour contracts and freelancers in other industries, and that's very seldom spoken about at all. You know that. Listen, I could talk to you all day, but I'm going to have to stop. Thanks very, very much for doing this, Caitriona.
Thanks for asking me.
Good luck with the rest of your confinement, and yeah,
and I look forward to us all dancing in a room together.
Absolutely, very, very soon. Thanks a million.
Yeah. Thank you.